Welcome to the IllumiNewsroom. More new cards. First up is Mulan, Reflecting, an Amber 3/3/2 lore Floodborn for 4. Shift 2 with when she quests, reveal the top card of your deck. If it's a song, play it for free, otherwise put it back. This is fully nuts. If we get a good cheap Mulan, you'll be able to get this effect as early as possibly turn 2. Now, granted, most songs are better later in the game anyway, but imagine a turn 2 friends on the other side, and it's not even played from your hand, but your deck. This card also makes any effect that lets you check the top of your deck better. Ursula's Cauldron was already good, but Reflection might actually see play, which is thematically appropriate. This is also the 3rd Amber Floodborn in this set, which means we're no longer confined to just 2 of each color. Moving to Amethyst, we got Pinocchio Star Attraction, a 1/1/3 lore for 2 uninkable. That is a lot of lore at 2 ink, but he's very vulnerable. However, if he does stick around, he'll be able to speed you to an early win. He'll see play in the same decks already running Maleficent Biding Her Time and Lilo Making a Wish, though his cost is a little awkward in that you have to pick between him or Simba Protective Cub to bodyguard your 1-drop. I think it might honestly be worth it to let your 1-drop get sniped, but only time will tell. What's also interesting is there's room for 1 more Pinocchio between this one and Talkative Puppet, and I'm guessing it will be a Floodborn called Stringless. We also got an item reveal in German, which roughly translates to confusing signposts, maybe senseless signpost? Something like that. It's 2 ink, uninkable, with you can banish it to return 1 of your characters to hand. This is easily the weakest of these effects we've seen so far. You'd very likely prefer to run Madame Mim's Snake over this, and I would have rather an item with this ability be reusable, but this does have the benefit of being able to be saved for later. This can help trigger Merlin Shapeshifter for no additional ink. Still seems the worst of the options we have for that though. Moving to Sapphire, we have the star of the show, Basil. His first card is Perceptive Investigator, which is a Sinister Visitor clone, and we'll probably see exactly as much play as she does, which is none. More interesting is Of Baker Street, a 2/2/1 lore for 2 with support, very similar to Phil, just more likely to survive some crackback, and will probably be used in the Amber Sapphire decks that already run Phil. Finally, and most interestingly, is Great Mouse Detective, a 3/4/3 lore Floodborn for 6 with shift 5, and when you play him, if he was shifted in, draw 2 cards. This is the first card we've seen that cares about the actual act of shifting, and I'm glad we're seeing this design space explored, but I'm not fully sold on this effect. If you use Perceptive Investigator as the shift target, then you've spent 9 ink and 2 cards to essentially replace those 2 cards. Of Baker Street seems a little better, as he can get some supporting in for a couple turns first before transforming, or worst case scenario, you spend 7 ink and 2 cards to draw 2 cards. I'm hoping we see at least 1 other Basil with an on-play effect, though. Moving to Steel, we've got 2 new vanillas, both from Princess and the Frog. Prince Naveen, Penniless Prince, is a color-shifted Horus, while Eli LaBouffe, Big Daddy, is a 2/5/2 lore for 4, a stat line we haven't seen before. Naveen will probably see more play than Horus, as those stats are better in Steel, while Big Daddy actually seems real solid as just a vanilla quester. The extra willpower makes him a lot harder to get rid of than Sinister Visitor or the new Basil, and I think he'll do very well in Limited. Side note, I had no idea that Big Daddy had a canon first name, and I wonder where they found it out, because I can't find any sources on Google. Lastly, we have Queen of Hearts Moody Monarch, or at least that's the currently expected translation from the German, a 5/6/1 lore for 7 with when an opposing character is banished, you may ready her. So this seems to be part of a cycle with the new Scar and new Beast, though she only has 1 lore. Still, she can get in multiple challenges per turn, or just get you an extra bit of lore as you smash enemy characters. And that'll do it for this week. I'm sure next week we'll have even more reveals than this one has had as we're getting closer to release. Speaking of, Ravensburger also announced this a couple days back that they expect a restock of the first chapter to start hitting LGSs next week, which is very welcome news. I'm hoping to finally pick up the box and trove I ordered all the way back in the summer. May your pre-orders finally be fulfilled as well.